The city of Denver sprawled out like a vast tableau beneath the gnarled fingers of the Rocky Mountains. Amidst its sprawling plains and towering edifices, there was one who viewed the city as a puzzle to be solved, an enigma adorned in the trappings of modern life. Her name was Lara Sterling, a detective who knew the city's pulse as if it were her own heartbeat. Lara was a figure etched in the palette of contrasts. In her early 30s, the youthfulness of her face belied a maturity sculpted by her struggles. She bore the lean frame of a marathon runner, a consequence of her fraught relationship with food, a trauma that, much like a shadow, faithfully followed her throughout her life. Yet her steely gaze mirrored an unwavering resolve that refused to be eclipsed by her personal tribulation. One late afternoon found her pacing the office, her space, a microcosm of organized chaos. Stacks of files, a blizzard of post-it notes, and the quiet hum of an old computer fan painted a quaint picture of her work life. Her latest case lay spread out on her desk, a ghoulish web of documents all pointing to one locus, the city's oldest mortician's office. With each passing hour, Lara meticulously pieced together a picture from the fragments of invoices, mortuary reports, and witness testimonies. A series of bereaved families had found themselves burdened with an inexplicably high funeral bill. The numbers didn't add up. They seldom did in cases of fraud. Her fellow officer, Sergeant Hernandez, peered over her cubicle, a sympathetic furrow knitting his brows. "Sterling," he began, his voice carrying the raspy notes of a lifelong smoker. "You should take a break. Go grab a bite." His words hovered in the air, echoing the very internal struggle she grappled with every day. Eating, an act that others took for granted, was an arena where she wrestled with her ghosts. She offered a wry smile. "No time, Hernandez. There's something off about this case." It wasn't the cryptic numerical discrepancies that kept her awake. It was the haunting aftermath of the funerals that sent cold tendrils of unease slithering down her spine. Families reported strange occurrences, whispers of inexplicably synchronized movements, blank expressions that veiled a peculiar emptiness. The city that she had come to know so intimately was beginning to show signs of a malaise more profound than she could fathom. While the sun slipped behind the towering mountains, she pressed on, the glaring screen of her computer illuminating her features with an eerie glow. She drew strength from her scars. The persistence that had carried her through her darkest hours was now steering her toward an emerging truth. The night fell heavy around her, casting long shadows that danced upon the paper-laden surfaces. Yet Lara remained, a solitary figure suspended in a sea of emerging oddities. An opalescent dawn graced the city of Denver, its ethereal fingers sifting through the towering skyscrapers, casting them in an exquisite ballet of shadows. In the quiet fringe of the waking city, the mortician's office stood, a solemn monument to the departed, its exterior an unassuming veil to the intricacies that lay within. Detective Lara Sterling found herself standing before its marbled facade, the somber air permeating the environment, winding its tendrils around her determined resolve. She drew in a breath, tasting the chill of the morning and the faint scent of formaldehyde. Stepping into the mortuary was akin to stepping into an alternate reality, a world held in a perpetual grip of silence and reverence. The atmosphere clung to her like a shroud, its embrace reminiscent of countless memories, lost within the annals of time but still forever etched into the building's foundations. Mr. Mordecai, the resident mortician, was a man of significant years, his countenance a canvas of countless funerals and endless mourning. His eyes bore into Lara's with an unsettling intensity as she voiced her inquiries. "Detective Sterling," he began, his voice echoing through the cold stone walls of his office, "you suspect fraud within my establishment?" "Yes," she responded, allowing no room for hesitation. Her gaze remained unyielding, the raw intensity of her conviction cutting through the frosty ambiance. She presented the documents, the numbers, the families, and their testimonies. Mordecai regarded her claims with an impassive expression. His silence, coupled with the cryptic nature of his responses, only seemed to heighten the air of mystery that clouded the establishment. Meanwhile, her resilience refused to wane. Amid her pursuit of truth, she found herself grappling with her personal demons. The sight of food being prepared for a wake stirred within her a visceral response. Yet she held her ground, her traumas acting as steel in the forge of her resolve. It was in the backrooms of the mortuary that she uncovered the first tangible threads of an unraveling mystery. A series of peculiar incisions on the corpses, too deliberate to be accidental, yet too enigmatic to discern their purpose. As she wove through the labyrinthine corridors, families of the deceased stood in mournful silence, their blank eyes mirroring a vacancy that Lara found profoundly unsettling. They moved as one, their actions synchronized to an eerie rhythm, their expressions reflecting an alien emptiness. An aura of foreboding gripped her as the afternoon light bled into the encroaching darkness. The city she had sworn to protect was spiraling into a maelstrom of uncertainty, and at the center of it was the mortician's office, a cryptic hub spinning a web of mysteries. Lara knew she had only scraped the surface. She was now standing on the brink of an abyss that promised to unveil truths far more profound and horrifying than mere fraud. She began a journey into a nightmare that threatened to eclipse the very reality of Denver. Under the sickle moon's thin light, Denver shimmered like a cityscape painted on velvet. Its nocturnal guise bore witness to Lara's unyielding pursuit of the unknown. Inside her dimly lit office, amidst a hurricane of documents and theories, she searched for a key to unlock the enigma that had ensnared the city. The peculiar incisions she had uncovered in the mortuary had led her to consult Dr. Priya Kapoor, a renowned pathologist. The scent of sterile antiseptic filled the room as they met at the city morgue, Lara's apprehensions reflected in Priya's wide mahogany eyes. "Detective Sterling," Priya began, her voice wavered as she held up a thin, translucent slide for Lara to observe. "I have never seen anything quite like this before." Under the microscope, a biological architecture of alien origin materialized, a parasite born from the womb of the cosmos. Its design was as beautiful as it was terrifying, a haunting testament to life beyond the veil of their understanding. The revelation sent tremors through Lara's universe, fracturing the reality she once knew. The parasite, it seemed, was a puppet master, its strings woven into the minds of the hosts, playing a macabre symphony on the stage of their consciousness. Its influence could account for the synchronized movements, the vacant expressions, and the odd behavior of the bereaved families. The realization bore an insidious chill into Lara's bones. A profound dread began to cloak the city, and within its icy grasp, an existential horror took root. The boundaries of her world blurred, the cosmic horror seeping into the edges, tainting everything with a terrifying shade of the unknown. Within the grand design of this horror, she found herself engaging with her trauma in unforeseen ways. Each interaction with food, often during mournful wakes, became a battlefield where she confronted her fears, as well as her resolute will to persevere. Her encounter with a parasite-controlled individual, Mrs. Whitaker, was a haunting affair. A once vibrant woman, now reduced to an alien husk, her actions dictated by the celestial puppeteer within. The conversation was a dance of unsettling rhythm, as Mrs. Whitaker's responses were not her own, her movements precisely timed like a marionette. Lara left the Whitaker residence, the echoes of their encounter reverberating within her mind. The city she sought to protect was caught in the maw of an unfathomable terror, and she found herself standing as its only line of defense. As she walked into the cold embrace of the night, the neon glow of the city pulsed around her like distant galaxies, leaving her at the precipice of a horrifying new world. With the cryptic mortuary as her starting point, she was poised to descend into the Maw of Madness that awaited her in the city's unseen corners. Denver, once a city bathed in the warm hues of familiarity, had transmuted into a nightmarish dreamscape, its usual symphony drowned in an eerie dissonance. Lara stood as the sentinel, the city's pulse echoing her own heartbeat, growing more irregular, more unnerving. Her days were spent scouring the mortician's records, chasing whispers of the uncanny that lurked in the city's shadows. Nights found her navigating a new normal, a world where food had become an unlikely ally, a tool that helped her blend into wakes and mournful gatherings as she continued her investigation. A clandestine visit to the mortuary revealed an escalating horror. The morgue's metallic scent now carried a hint of an alien musk, a testament to the growing influence of the cosmic parasite. The once somber establishment was transforming into a cathedral of the abnormal. Each interaction with the bereaved families heightened her sense of dread. They were no longer mere bereaved kin, but had become a unified entity of alien rhythm, their movements a ballet choreographed by the parasites. In this maelstrom, her encounter with a young girl, Emily, a parasite-free island in an ocean of the infected, was a beacon of hope. Emily's innocent questions about her deceased mother's odd behavior revealed glimpses of a child's resilient spirit in the face of the unspeakable. She saw a reflection of her own indomitable will in Emily, the very fire that had carried her through her battles with her eating disorder. A conversation with Mr. Mordecai, now just another pawn in the parasite's grand design, chilled Lara to the bone. His responses were uncanny echoes, his actions mere reflections of a command, a horrifying testament to the parasite's power. Her world was unraveling, and yet she found her resolve unyielding. Her personal demons no longer lurked on the edges of her reality. They stood by her side, guiding her through this newfound darkness. Her trauma, her battles with food, had become her armor, forging her into a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. In the labyrinthine depths of the mortician's office, she discovered the parasite's breeding ground. Encased in a shimmering cosmic sac, a grotesque spectacle of birth and domination unfolded, plunging her into the maw of madness. As she retreated from the terrifying revelation, Denver's streets welcomed her with their hushed whispers, each echoing the horror that lay within the city's heart. The mortuary, the bereaved families, and the terrifying parasites had set the stage for the final act of this cosmic drama. The battle lines were drawn, and Lara found herself standing on the precipice of a climax that promised to shake the very foundations of her world. The twilight hour descended upon Denver, casting an ethereal veil upon the city now held in the grip of a celestial menace. The sun bled out its final hues, as if mirroring the city's plea for salvation. Amidst this cosmic opera, Lara Sterling emerged as a stalwart figure, armed with resolve born from the ashes of her personal traumas. In the quiet sanctum of her office, she charted her final gambit. With Dr. Kapoor's aid, they unraveled the parasite's vulnerability. The creature, though of alien origin, was not invincible. Its life cycle was its Achilles heel, a brief window where it lay exposed before its grand orchestration of infection. The plan was as audacious as it was dangerous, a desperate strike at the heart of the cosmic horror. With the city's future hanging in the balance, Lara embraced her daunting task, the echoes of her own struggles lending her courage in the face of the unknown. The final act unfolded at the heart of the mortuary. The alien incubator, pulsating with an eerie luminescence, lay at the center of this maelstrom. Her entry into the room was a step into the alien symphony, her senses assaulted by the unholy sight of the parasite's breeding ground. The confrontation with the parasite-infected Mordecai was an eerie dance. The man she had known was lost, his humanity consumed by the alien parasite. Yet, as she grappled with him, the words she spoke were not directed at the man, but at the entity within. Her monologue was a testament to the human spirit, a twilight requiem for those lost and a beacon of hope for the survivors. As she spoke, her words hung in the air, heavy with purpose and the weight of her struggles, both against her eating disorder and the cosmic puppeteer. With Mordecai subdued, she initiated the containment protocol that she and Dr. Kapoor had designed. The room shuddered as the purification process commenced, the air filled with a piercing sound that left the parasites writhing. It was a sound of liberation, a requiem that played a harmonious counterpoint to the parasite's horrifying symphony. In the aftermath, Lara found herself in a world reborn from the ashes of horror. The once ominous mortuary now stood as a testament to a city's resilience, its silence no longer threatening but comforting. The bereaved families were freed from their cosmic puppeteer, their blank expressions replaced with the warm hues of human emotion. As she walked the streets of Denver, Lara felt the city's heartbeat align with her own. Her journey had been one of darkness and revelation, where personal demons became allies and fears turned into strengths. The world had been pulled from the brink of a cosmic abyss, its savior a woman whose strength was as immense as the universe itself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.